Alrighty, welcome back to round two of getting this composition built out and put together. I've got two of my images here. I really like the character's pose. I think this is the one that I'm going to go with. And then I've got my background image that I still like an awful lot just because of these hanging branches right here. I think there's some really cool things that I can do with those. And I am not trying to reinvent the wheel for this project, you guys. I always say use references. And for this project, um, you guys use them, right? Do not, you don't have to go in and make this stuff up all on your own. So I'm going through, I've got my brush set, my canvas is set up, it's square, 150 DPI, I've got my smoothing turned on, and I'm gonna start roughing this project in. Because I like the background and I'm pretty happy with it, I'm not gonna change too much. But I am gonna go in and start creating some of these perspective lines as quickly as I can. And I want to be able to show you guys in the description, it talks about how this project can lend itself pretty well, oops, to industrial city kind of scapes. And I go on within the description and talk about how you don't want to spend too much of your time overburdening yourself with the city. So just that quickly, I've got my perspective line set up. The way that I'm doing this is I am clicking once and then holding shift and then clicking again, and it connects the two dots within Photoshop. That's how I'm getting my perspective lines, tracing over my illustration that I have here, okay? Or sorry, with my reference image. So these are the big kind of moments that I want to keep within this illustration. The cement wall right around here is working good for me. Got it going straight across to keep the perspective correct. So that's all feeling nice and good. Let's turn off that previous reference image, and we can see that we're starting to get some indication of the top of this shot in this scene. So from here, there's some other strong points that I want to keep within this thing, and that is the lip and the overhang. And you're going to see how I create that stuff within Photoshop. So there's my lip, one of them. It's got this big kind of air conditioning unit here on this side. I'm not too crazy about it, but I do like some of the smaller lines that are going on around this thing. So I want to make sure that I keep that within my concept and making sure that my perspective lines are lining up and working. So that divot within the cement, I don't want to forget about that. Let's go ahead and put just on this other side straight across so that they're even, same distance away, same line moving out. Oops. Oh. Nice and clean. And then I've got my plants that I'm going to put on the top of this. So I've got the shelf that is overhanging this entire thing. So I can go ahead and under this shelf, so that's where my my bridge starts at, I can put some horizontal lines moving side of that. We got the bridge that's continuing on back here. That's going to work for me. Do a center line just to be able to help me line up where my dinosaurs are going to lay on the ground plane. That'll help quite a bit as I continue to move forward. I also really like, so I've got my lip designed. I've got this other piece of cement that's got a divot in it. So I want to just set a reminder for myself that that's going to be there. All right, so that's a pretty good sketch setup. And I want to go in and quickly do the, what you call it, some other lines moving back just to really be able to play up the perspective on this thing. Being a little bit closer. And because I'm doing this with solid black lines, I should be able to go in and use the lasso tool, select my shapes, and get the color blocking in there very quick, because I'm going to do this one without line work on it. Some of the other neat things that I got from the reference images here just a moment ago was the way that they're breaking up the space in between the columns, right? This is a really nice touch here with this pop of orange going at the top of each one of the storage units, as well as these sort of plastic bumpers so that you don't, accidentally back into the cement. I thought that was really nice. So those will probably get included. It's quite a bit more work, but that's okay. And then, yeah, these orange grate here, the grates are really, really nice too. So I want to be sure that I include something like that within the project. But the pillars are a nice touch. So let's go in here and start laying in some of these pillars. I've already got the spacing for the storage unit figured out. And I'm just going to come out on a horizontal line and put my pillar up. And it's just a little bit of a cut there to be able to make this thing happen and work. So I'm going straight across as best I can. All right, there we go. That's my pillar coming out just a little bit. And from the side, there we go. So there's one more little horizontal cut that I need to make down at the bottom of this thing, but that's enough for now to be able to get these pillars locked into place. So I like having that one there. Let's do another one over here as it starts to come out from the bottom. Not going to be quite as thick as the previous one because things get thinner as they move back into space. All right, let's try and keep it on the same horizontal line as best we can. I could get more precise with this, but I don't think I need to. Right. There we go. These guys are going to come on out. Right, there we go. So now we got one, two, 4 storage doors. Let's go in a little bit closer on this thing and get some of the other ones. Same line, just in a general placement for it. So you can see how even with this reference image that it looks like I'm tracing over right at the very beginning, I'm still going through and making some changes and making some adjustments along the way. There we go. I don't think we're going to see any of this stuff, maybe here on the side, but once I get my character in there, I don't think it's really going to show up all that much. That feels pretty good to me. And let's go ahead and close this off. That's a shame that those aren't quite the exact same scale. I want to close this off too, just so it's a little bit easier to be able to color block. It's going to be hidden behind the character in my shot. That one's open, but it's not the biggest deal in the entire world. That's working fine for me. Anything else? So I've got my storage bay doors for where they're going to go within this shot. I've got that upper lighting that's going to happen. I've got my plants that I need to figure out. I can go back to my reference images. This is one of the cool things about the AI generated stuff. And it gives me a few different ideas. Yeah, let's see if we can't make those storage bay doors just a little bit more interesting. So back to my brush and let's give a little bit of a, no. So for these guys, they really need a line that's going way back through here, and a line that's going way back over here. All right, so we got a hard horizontal, hard horizontal, hard horizontal. So that'll give me that little bit of lip for where the where I can place the orange things on the doors. And then just to be able to keep it accurate, I could put a line going all the way through there, but I think I could just draw one of those and scale it down for the orange bumpers. The next thing that I want to mention is how they're handling the ground. So I like some of this debris that's going on within these shots. I think that's a nice touch. The rusted metal ground is nice, but I think it's got too much contrast for what it is that I'm trying to create. This one, I really like the lighting on it. It's also got some weird sort of ground paint that it was trying to do. This has got some cement, some more weird little lines going on there. This one might be one of the strongest with random bricks, but it's got some cracks in the cement and things like that that are occurring. This one's got the lighting, some little rocks and debris. It's a nice touch. The first one, I think, is the winner, though. So we've got the cement that's been broken up, and yeah, so let's just start giving some lines going across, all the way across to the cement, just to be able to break up different regions in it. I don't think that those lines are going to be right where the doors are. There we go. That'll work for me. And that'll help me just to be able to divide the space up visually just a little bit stronger. These lines are not going to be very easy to see. I'm going to hide those quite a bit when I actually get to the final painting. But I mean, I really like that the cement and the ground floor isn't just one color, but instead it's got some water stains, it's got some oil stains on there for maybe trucks or cars coming through it previously. The two lines going on either side, the street lines are kind of nice. Maybe there's other divider lines that I could put on the floor just to give it a little bit more interest. But yeah, I think some cups or some cans or something, a few rocks here and there, maybe a brick to be able to hold open some of the doors could help to give a little bit more context to this entire shot. But by turning off my image, my reference image, now I've got a really good idea of what this scene and what this shot is going to look like. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to drop down my opacity a lot, to like 14%. I've got a new layer created. And really quick, I want to go in and let's figure out, what I can do with those hanging plants. Drawing really rough and really fast right now just to be able to figure out some forms and shapes for them. I think that looks pretty nice. Let's do a little bit more hanging down right on this side. Just the general shape of them. That'll work for me. Let's get a little rogue plant section that's starting to hang down on its own, kind of like a bonsai. But I want this to be really bushy that's going on right in here and catch a lot of the light as well. And maybe have a little bit more of a dangle going on just to be able to get the rhythm of it happening. I don't want to hide it right in that corner because it's a convergent line. So that's a pretty good bush shape. And I like that, it's got some angling that's going down with it. And then we've got bushes that we can create on the other side. So that one's the big one. And for this one, I want it to be a little bit more forward facing. Maybe it's got one little dongle that's starting to hang down here. The branch. And that's my bridge right in this section. So over here, I don't think we're going to see it again because it's all sort of, yeah, it's pretty behind the character. But that's what my plant life is going to look like within my shot. Let's turn off that character for now. And that's going to give us a good little pop of those aquamarines up in that area. We can also do some cool aquamarine colors underneath this big cement overhang. And we're starting to create a pretty strong composition within this shot. So from here, I'm going to, again, this guy is pretty low already. He's down to like 14%. I can turn him down even lower. I'm leaving my opacity on my brush down to 61 so that I don't get completely stuck within my shot. Now, I do like the head pose on this guy. So for the head pose, so I'm using it, not abusing it. It's still there. So there he is with his hat on at the neck. There's my necklines. This helps because I know the geometry of people. All right. And now we've got brow line. Let's go ahead and include that in there. No problem. Nose line. Cool. So we've got a pretty good character head just that quick within my shot. From here, I'm going to go in and I really like the hat. There's no changes I want to make on the hat. We're going to leave it. It's a little Raiden hat. All right. Maybe a little bit more. So we're going to jump this guy up just a little bit. Give it a little bit more of a shape just so that it shows up within the shot better. Now from here, I've got the rest of the character's body that I get to go through and render out and figure. So the clothing that the AI generated for me is cool. It's unique. It's totally cyberpunk. It is extraordinarily detailed, and I like the silhouettes on my original reference image better. I like the guy's collar, how high up it is. I think that's pretty cool. And then it's a downward facing collar, so it even feels a little bit more police-like. So just over the top of this character, I'm gonna start locking in some of that stuff. All right, there we go. He's got his Rick collar going on. Nice detail. Now I do have, within this character, I've got the underlying structure that's going on. I can start to make out. That leg is not exactly accurate, so let's fix that. Thanks, AI. There we go. It's a more accurate leg. I really like the boot, or the shape of the foot, with it being all the way up there. It's a really nice little touch. All right. So that is a much more accurate leg for the character. Here's my kneecap for him. Got the calf muscles, ankle, boot. Man, the bottom of those shoes is really, really cool. All right. So we got an accurate leg, but with the reference images that I've got, this guy's got these big old baggy clothes on. And so often, we want to do pirate pants. We want to really show off our ability to be able to render a character, their shape. I'll leave that line there. Bring those pants out. It seems like I did another project this semester with a character with some pants on, similar to this. All right, so I'm still keeping the form of the character. I'm not losing that, but I'm integrating those shapes and those forms from the reference image. It looks like, I can't tell if the pants are tucked into the top of those really cool boots or what's going on. We'll pretend that they're shorts for this. But they create it's that silhouette, them going up on the side, that really makes this whole thing work. So let me turn my mixer up. And this is part of that sort of studying your reference images. There it is. That looks stronger. I like it a little bit more angular like that. And we do the same thing right over here with these guys. So they come in and they come out. Got a little bit of a fold that's happening in the back of the leg here. I'm good with that. That's all working for me. And they got these boots with the big old straps going across them. I'm just sort of subdividing my sketch. I feel bad. We're on project 4 now, and I haven't really done any humanoid characters. And this is one of the reasons why I chose this particular project too, as a demo for you guys. I wanted to be able to show what how to be able to work from these references, not completely utilize them, still making changes, still working from the form, and still understanding the underlying anatomy of the character in the sketch that I'm creating. So I like the guy's arm. He's got these are pretty puffy jackets that he's got on here. This is a pretty tight jacket, and it goes all the way down. So for this one, let's open that jacket up. Leave it a little bit more puffy. Got the chest area. Enough puff on that arm. There we go. And hey, way to go, Dolly 3 with the correct hands on the characters. This bone dagger thing that the character is holding is super cool. I am not going to be spending 2 hours painting a beautiful bone dagger. So instead, we're going to go with a samurai katana. And you can see how working at 60% helps me quite a bit with these characters. All right, there we go. And another cool thing that's going on within this guy is the jacket has got a really, really wide front on it. So let's go ahead and give that big open front in the character's jacket. That looks pretty cool. And you can see that I'm losing some of this tight silhouette that the AI created for us, but that's okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. Thinking about my weighted points. Again, got a jacket here that's going to be, because of gravity and his hand moving forward, the wrist is going to be at the top of the jacket. You know that from doing lots of animation over the years. There we go. Jacket's arm is down, giving it a little bit more puff than what we see on this tight-fitting jacket. Give it some more wrinkles along the way. It's totally fine. Got a rough point right in here and a little bit of hole going around the sides. That's all feeling pretty good to me. I really like the shape of the character's hand that's going on here. So let's kind of keep that as much as we can. Got the front fingers. You can see how, again, I'm tracing over this stuff so that I'm learning this drawing as well. It's going to work a lot better. If you try to just minimize this and don't go through this step and not actually learn what it is that you're drawing and just try to trace over it, it's going to look traced and it's going to look really stinky. So this thing has got like lapels upon lapels on it, absolutely everywhere. I really like that one line going down the characters in front of their pants with the Adidas stripes. Let's keep that in our design. I've got the overall sketch of the character finished up, and now I can go back and start adding in some of those details. Oh my God, that thing's a whole, it's like 2 jackets or something that he's wearing. I've never seen anything like this before. All right, so here we'll keep the same lines that are going on with it. That looks nice to me. Character's mouth. The part of the brow, hairline. Okay, we're in a pretty good spot with our dude. So there's that one, and I really like that that lapel that's sort of hanging down, or where that's chilling at. However, it's absolutely bizarre for me to even try and re-sketch this thing and understand what's happening. So I think it's going to be bizarre if anyone's looking at it. So we got to make some stuff up on the fly. Let's give them some big overhanging, flappy 90s X-Men style pockets. And again, I'm thinking about the 3D and giving it everything just a little bit of shape and form. That feels really strong to me. I like it. And then we want to do something where there is sort of an extra collar hanging off on this side. Even if it doesn't make much sense, that's okay. That'll give us an excuse to drop in that extra little bit of line. I like that there's no of those sort of shoulder straps on the top of this thing. That looks good to me. Any other details, I can figure those out later on as we can, because I continue to go along with this. Lock in those ankles, where the laces are at. Again, this is just sort of my rough sketch that I'm going to use moving forward with this thing. Got the back of this and the back of that. All right, so that's all feeling pretty cool to me. Let's turn off that underlying drawing and have a look at it. It's okay. It's not the best, right? So there's a couple problems with this compared to the perspective that I'm looking at. So within the scene, we've got a lower down perspective, and the perspective lines are taller. So I need to be able to make this character match the perspective a little bit better within my scene. When I look at my reference image, this guy is standing just straight on. So that low down drawing isn't quite working the way that I want it to. Here's a way that I can adjust that really quick. I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and Distort. And I am going to pull my character up and over, and let's extend him up just a little bit. All right, so that is feeling stronger, but now his legs feel just a little bit short for the pose. We gotta do something with his upper body. And this is the beauty of Photoshop, right? So let's go in here. I like the distortion that I made. It's too much. Half that. Okay, there we go. So now his legs feel like they're the right length for his body. We've got the silhouette, the jacket design that's happening on there. He fits within the scene very nicely and very well. the last step for me on this one is to go through and start doing some dinosaurs in the background on this character. So I am not an expert at dinosaur anatomy, you guys. I haven't been drawing dinosaurs for 20 years as well. So you guessed it. I'm going to be going through and dropping in my reference images and seeing where they're useful and where they are not. So I've got my character line. To keep things organized, I can give them colors, orange, plants, green, and background. Let's go gray, just so that we can see that. And now I've got my dinosaurs that are going to go on top of my background layer, and I can start sketching them in. So we want these dinosaurs to have a presence within the scene, but not overtake and fight with the character, right? We want the character within the foreground to be the main thing that we're looking at. Let's see if we can't increase the size of that character just a little bit more. Bring him down there. Yeah, I like that his head isn't directly within the shot, within the perspective too, that it's pushing off to the side. This is like Rick if he went to Tokyo and was like working on a 4-year fashion degree, Rick from The Walking Dead. And and suddenly got a sword while he was over there during not the zombie outbreak, but the dinosaur outbreak in Tokyo. All right, so I'm just gonna go in and create some quick lines. I am not trying to recreate the wheel with these dinosaurs. And I don't want to create too many. I want to be very cognizant of how much work it is that I'm giving myself. Got my reference image there, but these overall shapes, let's just roll with those for working this character. That nice tail, I think that's the thing that really appealed to me about this that particular drawing. Eyes, and then we got another hand that's coming down here, and he's got those giant claws that are really, really going to be fun to render and draw. So that one's right up by the edge of the shot. My first dinosaur. Positioning scale looks good to me. Let's place another one. So this is one that I'm really looking forward to painting and rendering and getting in with the lighting as well within the scene. This is going to be one that's going to take up a good amount of space behind the character. I want this to be like the rise kill. And that's pretty cool, right? So we've got a fairly large T-Rex carcass. I'll leave that in the same place. That's Dino 1, Dino 2. And not trying to reinvent the wheel on a T-Rex at all. Again, I am not the best T-Rex drawer. I can't do one out of my head. And this render looks really, really strong to me. Like the shape of the skull, the way that it's. I also chose my my reference images here to, oh gosh, those teeth are going to be a pain to go in and render. Teeth take a long time. Yeah, that lip shape is really nice. Nose. Back of this thing. This guy is just, it looks like we hit a T-Rex with a car. So that's pretty cool, but we need, I love it that he's got his claw right behind the character's hand. That's a nice touch. Open that up. We're going to hide a lot of this guy within the shadow. I love that he's got some little spikes going on in his head too. That's a nice little feature. But we've got a larger torso that we need to create. That is not in the reference image. So we're going to pretend that, yeah, the back is sort of bent over. And then we've got the rib cage form that I'm creating here. That's going to be its rib cages. Back foot. We'll just hide that behind the character. We cannot see the rest of the T-Rex's tail. That works for me. The larger form there, edge of the mouth. Let's turn off that reference just to be able to double check. Yeah, and that is a really, really, you get the idea that this man has taken out some dinosaurs from that T-Rex being there. And, you know, we can open up some of the, what you call it, some of the grates for the storage units as the character's moving back. But between these two, 1 and 2, one little third dinosaur hanging out back there is all I should need to be able to get my point across. I'm not having to render everything under the sun. Thank goodness. Yeah, that is just a dead dino right there. It looks like a dinosaur toy that fell on the ground. That's all right. Again, turning it way the heck down. And I want this one to be, well, one thing that was cool was that they had like some carcasses within the reference images, right? That's like a dinosaur person. What the heck? AI is weird, but leaning actually up against the walls. So where is it? Yeah, like this one right here, I think is a really nice form and shape. So I'm going to try and recreate that one for the back one over here. That's 5, 6. There's its spine, figuring that out. Body, torso, back leg, and then I don't want the tail again kind of going over towards the center. That's what we did on the previous one. And then let's get one of their things hanging. That works pretty good for me. And yeah, so this image now has been built up really well. We've got an idea of the lighting. We've got the central character within the foreground. We've got where our dinosaur placement is going to be. And this is not something that existed from the AI images at all. It is using the pose, but the pose has been changed. Our dinosaurs are coming from various different sources. We have modified the background from the reference image that I was looking at before. And now I'm in a pretty good spot to be able to go in and start color blocking this painting out. So that's going to be the next step. I'm not going to show you guys that one. I'm just going to go ahead and do it on my own this evening. And then I'll cut back in for a short little video talking about, I guess, what the next steps in the process look like once I've got all my color blocking in here. But essentially, I'm about to be doing a whole bunch of my 2 colors. And I can also place embedded. Let's find the one. Yeah, that one is pretty cool. Yeah, this is the one that I like the lighting on it the most. And then I've also got my reference image that I used previously. So I can sample some of the colors from my reference image, but this should work pretty good to be able to go in and figure out the lighting. So this is like the good base color here for the stuff that's underneath. We place again. And where is he? Yeah, this guy. Got some darker colors. I can go in here, sample one of these and push it into my oranges and start to push it up a little bit, but I still think that's way too dark. That's like too much contrast, and it works for that image because the guy is in all white, but we've got a character that's in all black within the foreground. So we need to lighten up some things and push some of the values a little bit more so that the blacks actually have some weight and he's not just getting completely lost around his shoulders with those black dark overhangs. But yeah, what I'm going to be doing is, I think the best route is to go through and sample some of these shadow colors. So there we go. Is grabbing my background layer. That is the background layer, right? Yeah, that's got to be it. Yep, there it is. That's the background layer. With my magic wand, and I'm going to go through and start grabbing some of these. I can grab my our key tool and hit minus and take off all that. If some of this other stuff isn't what I want to be selected, I can hold down the Alt key on the keyboard and deselect all that. From there, I'm going to go to Select, Modify, Expand it by 3. That got rid of my much thinner lines. And I can start working underneath my background color. When my background starts to get a little bit too muddy, or if those black lines become distracting, I can always double click within the negative gray space under my layers to be able to get to my layer styles. And I can change the color option. for the background. So to be able to see it more clearly, red, depending on what your main color is, can work pretty good. But I'm going to go in and start blocking my background in. I've got this as a reference image as well that I'm going to be working from, but mostly I'm going to be pulling a lot of my color space from the AI generated images that I created. So I'll show you once more, one more quick video at the end after I get done with this step. But thank you for checking this part out. I hope this was helpful for how to be able to build and combine all these separate ideas together pretty rapidly into a strong sketch and a strong composition. Please make sure that your spacing, your characters, you notice the way in this video that I'm double checking myself. I'm making sure that my scale, my proportions are all working right so that at this base layer, if something isn't correct, I can quickly go back, fix it, and then keep pushing forward. Fail fast is the name of the game with these sketches. Make sure that this stuff is working right and working well for you, and you're going to save yourself a ton of time later on down the line when you get to sections that aren't really working that well. Make sure that you got something cool. So thanks for checking this out, you guys, and I will show you in a quick little part 3 where I end up at moving forward from here.